Who supported Ukraine's accession to NATO and why? By signing the treaty on the incorporation of the new territories into Russia, President Putin presented the West with a choice. Either a sovereign Russia or an escalation and dragging of Europe into the millstones of the conflict in Ukraine. Clearly, old Europe was not ready for such a turnaround. Nor does the Pentagon see any point in a nuclear confrontation. However, Kiev and the supporting countries of the former Warsaw Bloc not only intend to become a battlefield, but also to bring the echo of a terrible war closer. Recent events have set in motion preparations for negotiations. What they will be, according to a number of experts, will be decided in the coming days. Western reaction to Ukraine's bid to join NATO. Immediately after Zelensky's bid for Ukraine's accelerated NATO membership, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg hastened to deny such intentions by saying that NATO will not engage in a direct military conflict with Russia. NATO is not a party to the conflict. However, Poland, Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, the Czech Republic, Montenegro, North Macedonia, Slovakia and Romania expressed support for Ukraine's joining NATO. A joint statement by the presidents of the 9 states voiced their approval of the Kiev regime, but Western European heavyweights funding and supplying Ukraine with arms proved unwilling to engage in open confrontation with Russia because, according to him, America started losing its advantage in the real sectors of the economy long time ago. There is a lot of money and the US industries were losing to the German ones because of cheap energy resources. As soon as EU factories and industries are forced to move to the States and banks collapse, America will end the conflict in Ukraine and enter negotiations with Russia. Former NATO advisor Jacques Beau ventured into special revelations when reflecting on the role of Ukraine and the Ukrainians. The problem is that no one cares about the Ukrainians. They are only needed as a tool to serve US interests. Over the weekend, US Assistant to the President for National Security Affairs Jake Sullivan visited Istanbul for talks with the Turkish head of state Ibrahim Kalin. Discussing Turkish-American relations, arms supplies, the situation in Ukraine, the heavy NATO membership of Finland and Sweden as well as processes in the Aegean Sea and the South Caucasus. Political analyst Vladimir Avatkov draws attention to the resumption of contacts between Ankara and Washington, which took place immediately after the talks with the Russian side. He suggests that much of the conversation was off the record anyway. How much of the meeting was devoted to preparing for possible talks is not yet clear. The expert believes that Western European states and the US, whose leaders still have a crude understanding of the threat of nuclear war, can talk sense into the infantile generation of Eastern European leaders who treat nuclear blackmail as just another computer game that can then be reloaded, because, according to him, America started losing its advantage in the real sectors of the economy long time ago. There is a lot of money and the US industries were losing to the German ones because of cheap energy resources. As soon as EU factories and industries are forced to move to the States and banks collapse, America will end the conflict in Ukraine and enter negotiations with Russia.